Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you had an amazing weekend. A new podcast episode drops every Monday, so please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a single one. If you're watching me on YouTube or video, I have my glasses on. Unfortunately, I suffer from migraines. I don't know if any of you do, but they can be awful. So I'm trying to prevent them today as I feel one coming on. So don't think I'm crazy that I'm wearing these dark black sunglasses. On Tuesday, I announced the winner of the Winter Shred and the $500. She kept it super simple by counting macros and walking. That was it. You should see her flat belly results. Incredible. Go to my Instagram at Kelly Counts Macros to take a look. Her story is motivating all of my listeners and followers to take action and join the very next shred, which opens on April 11th. The wait list will be in the show notes. Today, we will be discussing how to motivate yourself with some actionable tips that you can apply so that perhaps you can continue on your weight loss journey without giving up after the first week or after quitting day, which is day 19 after you start something new. So inside the Clubhouse monthly membership, we are doing a 4-person team challenge called March 4th. My club mates are killing it, and we are on day 21 of walking over 44,000 steps as a team per day. Now, this is super motivating. This past month, inside of the Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse membership, we made an edible protein cookie dough. It is rich, it is thick, and it hits the spot, especially when the afternoon or evening cravings hit. You take a scoop of the cookie dough and your cravings are crushed. Everyone fights over the last spoonful in our house. These recipes are clickable inside of the Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse, and they shoot right into the app. You make the recipe, decide on your portion size, feed your people, done. Always family-friendly meals and desserts inside the monthly membership. Today, we will be talking about how to motivate yourself to keep you cruising towards your summer beach body. But first, I want to read a 5-star review of the podcast. Princess A, number 1, Kelly is amazing. Kelly is so knowledgeable about nutrition and has simplified how to lose weight in inches without giving up food you love. She helps you understand how to calculate and plan your meals. If you have a little weight to lose or a lot, Kelly is your girl to help you meet your goals. Thank you, Princess A, number 1. I love that you're using all of my tips to simplify weight loss while including wine and chocolate and cheese and ice cream. I love reading all of the reviews. I read each and every one. This helps me help the world. So if you have not left a review, please do so. Be sure to hit that follow button as well so that you don't miss any episode that drops each Monday. So let's cut right to the chase. The biggest mistake I see people making is waiting for motivation to hit. Motivation means you feel like doing something, and that means a lack of motivation means you don't feel like doing something simple, right? And that's what's interesting about motivation. When you feel like doing something, it's easy to do, right? Because when you're motivated, you feel like doing it. And if you Googled motivation or you've listened to podcasts on the topics or you've read about the science of it, I know that you have bumped into the word dopamine. So let me talk about dopamine in the context of self-motivation. Okay, so dopamine is a type of neurotransmitter and hormone, and dopamine is involved in so many different aspects of your body functioning. But when you talk about dopamine in the context of motivation, what researchers, neuroscientists, psychologists, everybody's talking about is the fact that dopamine plays a role in what's called the reward system in your mind. That's why dopamine is often referred to as the molecule of motivation. And when you're listening to anybody or reading topics like behavior chain habits, in our case, the science of motivation, it's really important to understand the role that dopamine plays because I think there's a tremendous amount of misunderstanding about what dopamine is and the role that it plays. And a lot of people feel like, Oh, like dopamine. What is it? What makes me motivated? If you could just put dopamine in a pill, I'd feel more motivated. Somehow, dopamine is sort of like that motivation on tap. That's not technically the case because dopamine is tied to cravings and to things that you want. Dopamine is present to drive you toward things that you crave or toward things that you really want to do. And I'm going to give you a couple examples because once you wrap your brain around this, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I totally get this now. So let's talk about a scenario. You've been at work all day, you had an early lunch, you've been in meetings all day as you're driving home, and you're hungry right now. When you get home because you're hungry, you're going to be very motivated to open that fridge, right? To look inside and to figure out what to eat or cook yourself for dinner, right? And why? Because you're craving food, you're hungry. But have you ever noticed that you can be really motivated when you get home to make something to eat and to eat real quick? But the second you're done eating, it's so hard to motivate yourself to clean up the kitchen and do the dishes. So you came home hungry. You were craving the food, which is why you were motivated to cook. You felt like doing it. Dopamine is present because it's tied to the craving and to the thing that you wanted. In fact, this is kind of cool. It's cool research. Let's say that you really love steak. And if you're coming home and you're craving steak, do you know how motivated you are to turn on that grill so you can grill that filet? In fact, your mouth is watering just thinking about it, talking about the molecule of motivation. My mouth is watering just talking to you about it. That's how much I like a good grilled meal, such as chicken or steak or shrimp. And the research shows that foods that you like spike dopamine levels by 50%. Why? Well, because you both crave it and you want it. That's why you're motivated to cook it. And this truth is with all things that you crave or things that you really, really like. And these are not necessarily good things that I'm going to list here, but I do want you to know the top things that spike dopamine levels. And it's not going to be pretty, okay? Meth, cocaine, nicotine, sex, social media, video games, sugar. So methamphetamine, it's known to cause a rapid and intense increase in dopamine levels, contributing to its highly addictive nature. Cocaine. Cocaine leads to a rapid surge in dopamine levels, creating a powerful sense of euphoria. Nicotine. Nicotine found in tobacco products stimulates the release of the dopamine, contributing to the addictive nature of smoking or chewing. Opioids. So prescription opioids and illicit drugs like heroin, they activate receptors, leading to the increase in dopamine release. Alcohol. Consuming the alcohol triggers dopamine release, and chronic use can lead to alcohol dependence or addiction. Caffeine. Caffeine present in coffee, tea, energy drinks. It's a central nervous system stimulate that can lead to increased dopamine release. Sugar. Sugar tastes good, right? So foods that are high in sugar can lead to the release of dopamine, contributing to the cravings and the potential to feel like you're addicted when eating sugar. High fat foods. So foods rich in fats, especially those high in saturated fats, may trigger dopamine release, potentially contributing to overeating and unhealthy eating habits. Video games, our kids and our adults that love our video games, certain video games, particularly the ones with rewarding features, can lead to increased dopamine release, potentially contributing to addictive gaming behavior. Gambling, when you have a gambling win, you release dopamine. So people get motivated to find these things because they crave them. You want to know what's not on the list? Meal prepping, going to the gym, tracking your food, stepping on a scale, weighing your food. I mean, who on earth wants to step on a scale every day? Not me. So that's why you may never feel motivated to do it. And look, there are so many people out there that are experts on biohacking dopamine. That's not what we're talking about today. You and I are talking about the reality in a normal person's life, which is do not expect this tiny molecule of motivation to rescue you in a situation when you feel down, you feel discouraged, you don't like doing what you need to do to lose weight, to reveal tone muscles. It's not coming, and yet you still need to pick yourself up and force yourself to do the work and just like motivate yourself. Dopamine is wonderful when you have it, but this conversation is about the other situations that 99% of your life when you don't feel like doing what you need to do. Perhaps it's, I don't feel like meal prepping. I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like working on a plan for the week. I don't feel like eating healthy when I'd rather have a pizza. I don't feel like hiring a coach because I'm afraid of failing again. And I didn't follow through with the last program. I don't feel like weighing my food. I don't feel like having a mocktail. I'd rather have a beer tonight. I don't feel like tracking that meal out because I can't track it perfectly and I can't get out of my own head and remove the all or nothing mentality. And notice when you don't feel like doing these things, you don't do them, do you? So that's why you will often hear me say, motivation is fleeting, it's garbage. It's garbage because it's not there when you really need it. If motivation were on demand, if it were on tap, if we could just pop a pill, people would take that pill every day. I'd take that pill every day. You want to know what else? If motivation were easy, everybody would be that certain number on the scale. Everybody would have six-pack abs. Everybody would have the body comp of their dreams and taking pictures of themselves because they would be motivated all the time to do all of the things to get you those things. But that's not how life works, is it? Because knowing what you need to do, it's not enough. It's just not enough. So what do we do? Step number one, you must remind yourself of why this matters to you. Let's say that again. Step number one, you must remind yourself of why this matters to you. This is one of the most important hacks for self-motivation, and that is understanding exactly what you want and exactly why you want it. If you don't really want it, you're not going to feel motivated to do the work to get it. And if you don't know why you want it, you're not going to feel motivated to do the work to get it. So you've learned that motivation is just feeling like doing something. That's all it is. We talked briefly about dopamine and the fact that dopamine is a part of motivation, but it's really part of the craving cycle, that when you crave something, the dopamine effect is there, and that's what is driving the motivation for you to move toward it. But we are really focusing on what the heck do you do when you have the craving, when you don't feel motivated, when you don't feel like sitting down and cranking out a meal plan, when you don't want to pre-track your alcohol and just wing it, or you don't want to go out grocery shopping or spend a Sunday night prepping healthy snacks for the week, or pre-tracking your week, or planning for that business trip so that you successfully lose weight. None of which anybody ever craves to do, which is why we don't do it. But you don't have to be stopped by that anymore. Because you know that motivation is just a feeling and that there are going to be things that you have to do in your life that you don't want to do. And so now you're going to have to hack this thing, right? So step one, you got to remind yourself, why does this matter to you? Even the stupid little stuff. Why does it matter to you to walk outside and get fresh air? I'll tell you why. Because when I take that walk after lunch and I come back in the house after getting my steps in, clearing my head and saying hi to the neighborhood horses, I'm ready to conquer my afternoon. Right? You know what? I don't want to not get my steps in. I don't want to be fuzzy-headed. I don't want to feel fatigued and tired. I'm going to be mad if I have that afternoon slump and yucky, tired feeling with no energy and not an ounce of ambition. I'm going to be mad that I did not do it for myself. I'm going to be mad that I feel like I need a nap. I'm going to be mad that I didn't get my 10,000 steps in. And I know that. So that is my why. My why for the afternoon walk. My reason for doing the walking after lunch is number one, because I want to set myself up for a great afternoon and an evening. Number two, I know that even though it doesn't feel easier, and even though I don't always crave putting on my winter coat, hat, and boots and getting out there in this eerie Pennsylvania nasty cold weather, I know that if I do it, I'm going to be better off. I know how good it feels when I'm done with the walk. I know that a little push right now to get me to do the walk in the cold and get it done and have a clear head, not feel drowsy. So I don't rip my husband's head off because he's stabbing and spearing his romaine salad too loudly that I made him for dinner. Kidding, not kidding. That matters to me more than how I feel right now about not doing it. So I don't sit around and wait to crave. I don't sit around and wait to feel motivated. I push myself to do it because it matters. It matters. And here's step two. You ready for this? It's super simple. Let's take a page from Nike, from the most powerful tagline on the planet of any brand anywhere. Just do it. 3 words, simple words. You know I like to keep it simple. Just do it. So do you know why the tagline is so powerful? I want you to stop and think about it. Just do it. What do you think is the single most important and powerful word of that tagline? You know what everybody guesses? They say do. And I don't blame them, right? Because taking action first seems like the most powerful word, but do is wrong. That's not the reason why that tagline is so powerful. You know what everybody's next guess is when I tell them no? Is it. You got to know what you want. And that's true. You do need to know what you want because when you know what you want, you now can align your actions with it. But that's not why that tagline is powerful, and I can prove it to you. Imagine if the tagline was do it. Do it. Would that be empowering? No, that's because the most powerful word in the entire tagline is just. Just is the universal moment of hesitation. It's that moment when you're standing on the sideline and you're thinking about whether you're going to jump into the macro counting game. You're thinking about whether or not you're going to do it. You're standing there because you're afraid or you feel you might fail or you feel like you might not be good enough to join the shred or it might not be the right time to jump into the shred. See, all of those emotions that you feel, they don't motivate you. They drive you to hesitate because it's so easy. It's about putting your heart into something that matters to you, running at your weight loss or your fat loss goal, being clear about the direction that you're headed in is way more important than how fast you're going. There's so many people just running in circles, spinning their tires, no idea what they're doing, going nowhere fast. So let me explain what full speed means. It means slowing down. So you understand what you want and why. And once you figure out what you want and why you want it, it means giving it your gosh darn very best effort, whatever best means today. And there are going to be those days when you only have 20% to give, or 30% to give, or 40% to give. And that has been me in the past. I've been exhausted. I've worked way too much this past year. But if 20% effort is everything that you've got today, and you give that 20%, That's 100% effort. Let me say that again. If 20% effort is everything that you've got today, and you give that 20%, that's 100% effort. That's full speed. That's what I'm talking about. Only you know how much you have to give today. And you also know, by the way, when you're standing on the sidelines, listening to the excuses. And so when it comes to self-motivation, just come back to this advice over and over and over again. These 2 simple steps are all you need to know. Anytime I find myself hesitating or feeling unmotivated, you know what I do? I remind myself why this matters. Taking that walk after lunch. I don't feel like doing it. Why do I take the walk? Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm going to push myself to do it for the big things, also for the little things. It will summon the exact clarity that you need. It will cut through the emotions of the moment, and it will give you exactly what you need to do next. It works for me. I know it'll work for you. So stop waiting around to feel like it. Motivation is not coming. If it's not something you crave, dopamine is not going to help, and it doesn't matter because now you know the 2 simple steps and the truth about self-motivation. It is there for you if you understand what you want and you remind yourself of why you want it, and then you gotta just do it. Use the 5-second rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push yourself through the excuse and take the action at full speed. And I have a feeling you're not going to fail at all unless you quit. And don't ever forget, I will be here once a week, right by your side, reminding you every step of the way that yes, there is greatness inside of you. And in case nobody else tells you today, let me be the one to say, you're always doing better than you think you are. Now go do it. All right, let's review. With action comes motivation. Know your why. You must remind yourself of why this matters to you. This is the hack for self-motivation. If you don't really want it, you're not going to feel motivated to do the work to get it. And if you don't know why you want it, you're not going to want to feel motivated to do the work to get it. You'll do the meal prep on Sunday. You'll track your food when you don't want to. You'll plan your weekend. You will do these when you remind yourself of your why. Just do it. Let's take a page from Nike. Let's use their tagline. Do you know why that tagline is so powerful? The most powerful word in that tagline is just. Are you thinking you're going to meal prep? It's easy to sit there and think about it in your own brain. Even when you don't feel like it, there's still greatness. There's greatness that you can tap into. How the heck do you summon it? Just do it. Push through the hesitation, the excuses, because you know why this matters. You tap into that greatness that's inside of you and into that lifestyle of eating and exercising that you dream of. Let's attack the things that are important to us. Let's give it our all to lose the weight, to reveal tone muscles, to feel better in our own skin. When it comes to wanting the things that you want, give it your best effort, whatever that means today. If you have 20% in the tank, you give 20%. That's 100%. So whether that's 20%, 30%, 40% effort, and that's all you can do. Remind yourself why this matters. I'm going to push myself to do it. It will summon the exact clarity that you need. It will cut through the emotions, the excuses in that moment, and will give you exactly what you need to do next. It works for me. It's going to work for you. Stop waiting around to feel like it. Motivation is not coming. If you're not craving it, dopamine's not going to help. But you now know the 2 simple steps, what really helps with self-motivation. Give yourself the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just do it. Force yourself to do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. So that is all I have for you today, but we have game-changing, simple, and group challenges for conquering motivation inside of the monthly membership, the Kelly Counts Macros Clubhouse, and also in the Shred. These tools expedite your weight loss, hold you accountable, keeps you consistent. which is the magic pill for any goal that you have. If I could bottle up consistency and motivation and sell it in a pill form, I would be a billionaire. Thank you all for tuning in. I would love for everybody to share this episode, tag me on your social media so that I can say thanks. Also, leaving a 5-star review on the podcast helps me help more people. Who knows? Maybe you will even hear your review here. It's time to get out of your own way, out of your own head, not waiting for motivation. I simplify it all because I know you're busy. You don't have time. The next shred opens April 11th, 2024. The waitlist will be in the show notes, the link to it. That wraps up this episode of Kelly Counts Macros. Now go out, keep it simple, and remember, you're always doing better than you think you are. Bye for now.